Welcome to the Greg Bennett Show. I'm your host, Greg Bennett. And this episode is part 2 of the special edition with Daniela Ryf. I'm joined by my co-host, Laura Bennett, and Daniela, of course. And in this episode, we really dissect some of the career highlights for Daniela, of which there's been so many. We discuss her future, and then we end with some really short and fast questions, some of which were simply fun and others that required a little bit more of self-reflection. But it's a really great episode and I hope you enjoy it. But before we go on, a little bit of housekeeping. Again, I got to thank you for listening and sharing the show. You're doing me a huge favor by doing that. And if you're enjoying the show, again, please support the show sponsors, Athletic Greens, Form Swim Goggles, and Hyperice. They're all wonderful products. Now, I hope you enjoy this second part to Daniela Ryf. Laura and I both truly thought this was a magnificent conversation with a true champion. Remember, success comes to those who endure just one moment longer. A quick mini break. I really want to encourage you to do something special for yourself and sign up for Athletic Greens and get a free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase by visiting athleticgreens.com/Greg. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Greg. If you want to see all your key metrics like your pace, distance, stroke rate, and heart rate while you're swimming, you need the Form Smart Swim Goggles. Go to formswim.com/Greg. That's formswim.com/Greg and get $15 off. Or you can use code GREG15 at checkout. Take advantage of the great sale going on now at Hyperice. Plus, get 10% off all Hyperice products using the exclusive Greg Bennett Show discount code GREG21 at checkout. Go to hyperice.com and use code GREG21. You've obviously had, like I said in the introduction, so much success. If I said to you, is there certain career highlights, let's call it that. Are there career highlights? Are there events that really stand out to you? You mentioned the 08 Olympics and coming 7th, and that was probably an above where you thought you were type performance. Are there other events that kind of stand out to you?
There's definitely there's a lot, but if I have to stand out, not always that you have to win them. I think I had races which I didn't win where I was really proud of. Like 2014, the Kona race for me was, I thought it was a great race, and I was really proud because I was not afraid. And I think that's I find it quite dangerous when you get good. When you start to be afraid of losing, that's like the end. I've also talked about that with Brett a lot, and to just not. It's hard. It's easy. It's hard, or it's wrong to say you don't care if you don't win, because of course you care, but not making it a must. And I feel when you can do that, like I did in 14, there I didn't really care. I just went hard. That race, I thought I was really. I don't know. I just really was proud of the effort. And in general, I think it should be the effort you count. It's the effort you put in that you can, also influence. And so, for example, 2010, I would definitely look back to one of the best races I had in Seoul. I'm not really. I would say I'm an okay runner, but against Emma Snowsill and Emma Moffat, Nicola Spirig, and all the ones, they were all there, and that I could outrun them. That's like, that would be like on my really top list. That was.
We actually have written on our show notes here, we've loved your Ironman career and all your 70.3 world titles.
And that, it's funny, Daniela, when you started to dominate Ironman, people were like, where'd this girl come from? What's going on here? And I always send them back. I said, just go check out 2010 Seoul WTS. It is one of the most phenomenal ITU races that I've seen.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. And just because, at that time, Emma Moffat was kind of winning a lot. Emma Snowsill was, I think she won Worlds in 2010.
Well, she was the Olympic champion too in 08.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
And then, but I think, and even in that race, Emma Moffat had won so many, I think, back to back. And there were so many, she went out fast, and then you guys kind of came back at her. And then, Nicola drew you guys back in, I think, a little bit. I mean, you can run down the race for us, but and then you ended up with a sprint finish with Barbara, right? And it was just really exciting.
Oh, and a 33:23 for the 10K.
Exactly.
Yeah. In the heat of soul. It really was. I mean, Laura and I have loved watching you, but we always come back to it and go, actually, that's our favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely also my favorite race. I mean, I got sick for 1.5 years after that race by swimming in that river, but it was totally worth it.
I actually wanted to touch back on that because I remember you talking about, I remember talking to you around that time, and you were saying how you've got some stomach bug and you just can't get rid of it. But the only thing you can drink is Red Bull or Coca-Cola. I can't remember which one it was.
Really? Was it? I don't remember that actually. Yeah, I had a hard time. I was really I felt it was really horrible, like being an athlete, and then I've just felt nauseous like all the time, like literally all the time. And when I would push over like a certain amount of like heart rate, a certain amount of I would get like so nauseous I just wanted to lie on the floor. So I had to like kind of find a way to trick myself to being able to train a little bit, or I just tried to, but it was very hard with food to find something that would, I could eat or drink. And there was, I think not knowing what it was the hardest part, because it just, no one would know, and everyone or people would, or some people would say, it's just mentally. And I don't think, in the end, it was not mentally. In the end, they found out what it was. And with the treatment, it took forever, but it eventually got away. So, I would not change it, because it also opened me up lots, like helped me to actually, that's why I started studying. I started my bachelor's back then. And also realizing actually I wanted to be a bit more at home. After that, I definitely was a part I learned, and to also be patient. Like I was never patient, but in these 1.5 years, I definitely showed some patience, because I just had to wait. Like I remember I had days, I was in Australia with a really nice homestay and some nice training partners, and we had a great time. And I was literally like, I could just stare at the wall. I was so tired. I would get up one day, I remember, and I would go in the car and try and go for a swim. And by the time I went to the pool, I got so tired. It was like a 3 or 4K drive, that I went straight back home again, because I couldn't get out of the car. I was so tired. And that showed me really like how important the immune system is. My stomach, or I had this bacteria overgrowth and the candida and everything. So it was really like, it was just, my whole body was just not working anymore. And as an athlete, to not being able to train at all for a while or for so long, and trying to push, and then not being able to push hard, which kind of felt like I didn't want it hard enough. I'm always trying to first find the mistakes at myself. So I was like, maybe I'm just lazy, or maybe I'm just not hungry enough anymore for to push hard. But that's, these self-thoughts can then also be quite hard. And definitely happy I went through that and didn't give up there. I'm actually surprised I didn't give up earlier, because it was a long time I felt like not really going anywhere.
Yeah, it's amazing how professional athletes think. We all kind of think, okay, once we're getting so fit and so strong and you're training every day, you feel like you're invincible. But at the same time, we are just tearing ourselves to pieces. You can't imagine like how what we're actually doing to our bodies. And I can understand that, probably we probably all suffer from something like leaky gut, where, your immune system is 70 to 80% of your gut is 70 to 80% of your immune system. Mm-hmm. And, if we don't keep that intact, and I don't think we ever really think about it, because we think, we're fit, so we're healthy, mm-hmm. And it really comes back to kind of keeping in check with all of that, I think, to stay on the right track.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. It's almost like you've gone through, like I said earlier, you've had these 1.5 year segments, where you had that.
Yeah.
had the COVID year, which thankfully I don't think you've had COVID, have you? I mean,
no, I didn't. No.
It sounds very similar to actually what you did have, though, because we did have COVID, and what you described is kind of how I felt. You're like, is it just me?
Yeah, it feels like a chronic fatigue.
But it is that kind of fatigue. But there's also one other race. We're talking about some of the highlights of your career. It'd be wrong of us to just breeze straight over 2018 and your Ironman World Championship win there. Was that a day where it just, I was going to say where nothing happened, but it starts off with a jellyfish sting where you lose probably 5 minutes, I would say, off your potential swim. Is that about right?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
I mean,
well, it felt like 20 minutes. I felt like it took me 2 hours to do that swim.
Oh my God. I mean, we were all watching going, well, where is she? I mean, because I think, what did you swim, 57 minutes or something?
I don't know. Yes. Yeah.
I actually don't know either. Somebody's going to tell me. But then, you've gone and ridden, a 4-hour 26 bike, which is insane, everybody. That's over 40 kilometers an hour. And that includes, getting on and off the bike and everything else about it.
Wow.
I mean, was it once you got going, was it just what was that day like?
Yeah. I mean, that would definitely be the craziest race of my life. And also, I'm definitely one of the proudest because it was, actually, when I look back I always had every race, there was something that happened. It's almost in every race. It's just how you hide it and how good you cover it or how good you deal with the problem. But I mean, the problem in the jellyfish race in 2018 in Kona was definitely, not to hide. And I think it's kind of interesting, like how also the mental part played a role there, because I felt really fit and I was quite ready. I felt quite excited about the race. And then, this happened just like a few minutes before the start. And I just tried to talk myself into that it didn't happen. Say, no, this is just it's just a bit warm now, It was burning like hell, but I just tried to convince myself it's just, like a little bit warm under my arms and that will fire me up. And, I couldn't really convince, it was then eventually not really to hide, but like so many things go through your head when you have like moments like this. And there, I remember I thought to actually just, wave to the longboards because they were just next to me and I felt like I was about to drown. And then I thought like, well, what if I stop now? What happens? So I actually went that way and said, okay, now then you're going to finish, you're not going to finish the race, then you're going to go home to the hotel and you're going to cry. Well, that's really not so great. So I thought, no, I don't want that. So I kept swimming. And then also I thought like, all the effort, my team, my coach, my family, they came to Kona to watch me. Everyone still puts in effort. So you can't just like not finish. It's just not acceptable. And so it's funny, when I actually decided not to quit, from there it got better because then I had a plan. I just wanted to get out of that water. And that was my only goal. And it's funny when you change your goals, like, obviously when I was at the start line, my goal was to win, but I went from that goal to, I just want to get out of the water somehow. That was like my only goal. And then I'll see what happens. So I did that and I reached that goal. And then, actually I told myself, I'm going to finish whatever it takes. I'm going to, even if it's 19 hours, I probably would not have been able to make the time. But then the 17, I think, is the time slot, right? So yeah, I said, even if it takes 17 hours, I'm going to finish that race. So that was, from then I knew, okay, then you might as well just push a bit because it's going to take forever otherwise. And so I went out of the water and I changed and I checked the situation and it didn't look, actually, to be honest, when I swam, I thought my arm was like thick as like my leg, but it didn't look that bad. It was just burning. So I was like, okay, come on. It doesn't look you can't even see much. So I went on a bike and it's funny, yeah, because I think because I let go of all my expectations, I felt as free as I've never felt. Like, it was so awesome. Like, I started the bike so far back that I could just ride. And it was really nice because I often say that to people who are just doing an Ironman and no one knows them. I was like, I wish I could do that. I could just ride and no one knows me. And that's a bit how I felt there. I was just like, I can just ride now and it doesn't really matter because my race is over anyway. So I just rode and then I was like, oh, I'm not even that far back. And when I realized I had like 12 minutes on Lucy, 12 minutes in another race, you'd be like, oh, I lost the race. And then suddenly, because I thought I had half an hour or so, loss, it was like a positive news that I only had 12 minutes. So, and then as a psychologist part, like when you actually can trick yourself as like making it positive news, it really motivates you. So for me, that was like motivating that I only had 12 minutes. And that's where I started, I think my mind started also to click, and I just started to see it as like a challenge, like how close can I get? And it just was really, I could really feel free and just play and actually really, I think it really helped me to then, not worry to blow up, to just go. And I mean, also probably because I didn't push hard in the swim, like my heart rate was low during that swim, and maybe the extra poison of the jelly, I don't know what really it was in the end, but I felt really amazing on that bike. And I think the closer I got, the more excited I got, because I suddenly started to see myself back in the race, which I already thought was lost. And that feeling was actually really motivating and really exciting, because I felt I was not really a player in the race anymore.
Well, that is absolutely a fantastic story, and you tell it really wonderfully, because I think anybody that's an athlete has that kind of self-talk on those days, right? You're up, you're down, you're up, you're like, oh, geez, what do I do? And it's kind of like, do I go back to the hotel room where I'm just going to cry? No, just do something. And it's like this constant chipping away at it, and then all of a sudden you chipped and chipped and chipped, and then boom, it opened up. I just think that freedom that you felt. I'm really enjoying this conversation because there's so much psychology involved, and I think that's just really, really fun. But that race, like I said, ended up being 8 hours and 26 minutes. I don't think that's going to be touched for a while. I could be wrong, but gee, what a performance! So congrats on that one as well. And then 2019, unfortunately, you got sick, didn't you? Like the day before or something?
A few days before. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think about not starting that one, or it was because of 2018 with the jelly sting? You're like, well, I might as well do it because maybe it'll happen again.
Actually, I thought, well, it's not. It can't be as bad as the jellyfish race. So it was 2019 was definitely special. I mean, with having the stomach bug like a few days before the race, it was never really a question if I would race, because I was there anyway. And I always try to give it a shot, because you never know what happens. It's actually what the story in 2018 taught me the most is like, however bad your race is, you can still turn it around. And it was kind of the same aspect in 2019, although having a stomach bug, for an Ironman race is not very helpful, because you just really need the energy to race well. And that day was definitely not. I definitely couldn't cover it or hide it, because I was just really low energy wise. And I mean, I'm actually really happy I did the race, because I think I would have problems if I didn't race and then wondering what happened. So at least now I know, like, it was all I had. I definitely gave my best. And I mean, I also quite happy I didn't, I just wanted to finish it and somehow try, because even in the race when I was back, I still thought, look, whatever, like, you don't know what's happening. You suddenly might find some energy. And there was actually one moment even in the race when I was on Ali Drive, where everyone was shouting so loud, and I had maybe, I don't know how many minutes I had on the first place, but it was maybe 15 minutes. And I sometimes also like to think crazy. And I was like, well, 15 minutes is still doable in a marathon, And for a while, for like 2K, I picked up the pace, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to still catch them. And my energy lasted for about, I don't even know if it was 2K, maybe 1K. And then no, it's not going to happen. When your body is just really empty, and that day it was. And so, I wasn't too disappointed. I was disappointed that I couldn't show what I prepared, but I wasn't disappointed with the race itself. It was just all I could do and in that day. And I mean, when I finished, I was actually happy. I was like, yeah, it's just shit happens, but I wasn't angry at myself or anything. And I would be angry at myself probably if I wouldn't have tried.
Well, I think a lot of the battle for all of us is to just get to the start line. If you can get to the start line somewhat healthy, because I don't think any of us are absolutely feeling like we haven't got a tiny niggle or something. It's like just trying to get there. And it's like a lot of these Olympics, and world championships and things that you've been to, half the battle is get there as fit as you can, and then just give yourself the opportunity to play the game.
Yeah.
You come in at 80%, get that 100% of the 80% out.
That's it. That's what we used to say all the time, isn't it? Yeah. You're better off getting 100% of 80% than being 100% and not being able to show it at all because you just overdid it, or 101%, let's call it that. A quick mini break. I really want to encourage you to do something special for yourself and sign up for Athletic Greens and get a free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase by visiting athleticgreens.com/Greg. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Greg. If you want to see all your key metrics like your pace, distance, stroke rate, and heart rate while you're swimming, you need the Form Smart Swim goggles. Go to formswim.com/Greg. That's formswim.com/Greg and get $15 off. Or you can use code GREG15 at checkout. Take advantage of the great sale going on now at Hyperice. Plus get 10% off all Hyperice products using the exclusive Greg Bennett Show discount code GREG21 at checkout. Go to hyperice.com and use code GREG21. Take us through just quickly, do you have a night routine, morning routine, a typical training day? You come across as someone who's fairly disciplined and regimented. Do you kind of structure your day like that?
I'm actually only fake disciplined. I'm not really. I like routine and kind of like having myself under control, but I actually also like to be lazy, but it doesn't make me feel good. That's why I try not to be lazy. So that's kind of my trick. So for example, I love to sleep in and to actually not get up, but it's just, I actually don't really do it so much because I feel better when I get up and do something and train. It's for example, before the race, I try not to make myself, addicted to a routine because that's then again stress. So if you need to have your whatever bread the day before the race, and if you can't find the bread, you're going to lose the race. That's very, very self-destructive and very, like you're going to feel like in a prison. You can't, you're not flexible. So I try to, have a routine, always do it similar, but not having to be forced on one thing that's going to make the race. I think I've had so many races in different places where I also learned that it's really not mattering that much what you do. You just have to actually being relaxed is almost the most important. And so, that's why I try not to stick too much to a routine that I get stressed about, but still have a little bit of a routine that makes me feel comfortable and kind of that I feel that I know what I'm doing.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, but one thing I always have, and that's, is kind of like a thing. 2 days before the race, we often have steak, pasta, and wine, like a glass of wine. And that's, I don't know, it's been since the ITU days with Magali, DiMarco, and Ivan Chouvet. And just since I've raced in the ITU, we always somehow did that in the Swiss Triathlon Federation. So, we had always nice trips back then with Rita Hoog and Rudy Wild and Sven Rieder. So I don't know, that's kind of stuck to, and I still do that, have that glass of red wine.
There you go, everybody. There's the tip of the day. 2 nights before, steak and wine. And what else did you do?
And some pasta for the Ironman,
There we go. Laura, you're on the nutrition side of things. What do you think?
Perfect.
Okay, there we go. We've got the two great women telling us that that's what we should be eating, everybody. We're done.
Not every day. Yeah, no, I'm not saying every day.
Okay. So I always take things too far.
Yeah, no, it's always about the balance. There
you go. How many, this is going to, a bit for some of the audience and even myself, I like to geek out on this sort of stuff. How many sort of hours a week what's your training volume look like throughout the year? And does it change much?
Yeah, I'm actually very boring there because I don't even write down what I do, and I don't have I don't really know the numbers, to be honest. It's something I actually enjoy not to do because it gives me the freedom not to trying to copy what I did last year. It's also kind of with Brett. I think we did similar things, but not trying to copy. When you had a good race, you're trying to copy that. It's never going to work because your body and your mind might not be at the same stage at that moment, so you can't just copy and think it's going to work. So but yeah, in general, I think consistency is really what I try to look out for, and that's really just over the whole year. I do have always a break after Kona, and that can be like maybe up to 4 weeks where I really do very little, could be just 30 minutes a day. And I think compared to up to 6 hours, what we do sometimes is definitely very little and important for the mind. But in general, I do have to, I think quality is still more important than quantity. And so the hours, I don't really know. I do have, training days where more focused on runs and then more focused on the bike. And but I'm definitely not up in the mileage on biking or running, which are super crazy.
Yeah, I know. I think, with my experience with Brett coaching, a lot of the way that you described your training there is exactly kind of what I went through. Is you never really knew. It wasn't even on a weekly cycle half the time. It was kind of like every second day was a run day or whatever. And so you never really knew what was coming. And then the run days were often 3 a days. Do you ever, I guess you would have done a fair bit of 3 a day type runs?
Yes.
Is that kind of,
yeah. We have done that like a lot along the last years. And of course it's always changing a little bit. It's different, can be different sessions, but I do like the focus days. It is also kind of, it switches your daily or your weekly routine. So you have one day which is basically more running, one day is more biking. And I definitely feel like it's working really well for me. The Kenyan days where you run 3 times an hour, pretty much hard, is not much. It's like 3 hours. It's not much if you do nothing else next to it, but it's quite intense. And it definitely feels like it makes me fitter. And also, like to not just do slow stuff. I think it's important to also keep the quality.
Well, a lot of what Brett's training is based on is Arthur Lydiard, who I've mentioned on this show a fair bit. And after I left Brett myself, I started studying a lot of Arthur Lydiard, the great New Zealand coach of the 50s and 60s and 70s. Just an incredible man that tested a lot on himself and had a lot of success with Japanese and the Finnish athletes. And the New Zealanders, and so it was just he was a good guy that I think Brett sort of did a lot of work on. What I'd like to do is just sort of move on. We've taken so much of your time, but before we go, end. What's next? What are your plans for the year, being that things go ahead?
It looks quite positive at the moment. With Ironman Tulsa coming up in 10 days. It's definitely a race I look very much forward to it. It's been a while since I could do an Ironman, and I feel like I could put in quite some good work. And so to get an Ironman done, I feels definitely good. Then I'll head home to Switzerland and probably be a bit around there. There's looks like even in Europe there's some races going to happen, so that's exciting. I think the Collins Cup end of August definitely should take place as well, and then most likely I'll be back in St. George for the Ironman 70.3 Worlds in September, and then pretty much on the way to Kona. So it feels great that to see that actually the season takes form. I mean, I feel like I already had like a bit of a season, even just now being able to do these 2 and then next week. But yeah, it's motivating, I think, especially because it's been kind of a dry year of racing. It definitely feels good to have that, goal again, and the opportunities to actually show what we did in the last year.
And did I see, is the Triple Crown happening? Because you won the $1 million Triple Crown a couple of years ago, right?
And then, one time, in 2015.
2015. So that wasn't a bad year.
No, that was an intense year, yeah.
And so that was $1 million bonus. And that was for winning 70.3 Dubai, World Champs, and Bahrain 70.3. That's happening again, right? And you've already just won 70.3 Dubai.
Yeah.
Is that back on the calendar?
No, it was actually, I didn't plan that at all. I didn't know that Dubai was I didn't know the Triple Crown would be on. And I just decided to go to Dubai because Rudy was making advertising that he's going to go there and he's going to book the flights and we're going to have a little Swiss trip. And I was keen that, to do some race. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. First, I think. I
mean, you got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's a long way to go. I think in general, after Kona, first you have to become world champion on a very, very difficult course in St. George. I think that will be the next step. And then after that, I can still then see if I need to think further. But I think to win 7.3 Worlds in St. George will be a tough one. It will be a hard race. So I think I'll focus on that and then we'll see.
I mean, that's what makes them special, though, isn't it? The harder the fought battle, the more special the win is. So a couple of questions before we let you go. A couple of serious ones to start, and then we'll have a bit of fun. Have you got one sort of tip for people on how to optimize their lives? I mean, you've already given so much in this episode, but is there anything that stands out to you that you kind of say to somebody in order to optimize their life? Or their performance in any way?
I don't know if I'm a life coach, but I mean,
From this episode, I think you've got a lot of wisdom there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always struggle to give advice because I think it's very personal to everyone needs different advice, but I can only kind of speak for me. And I think what really helped me is to, if you see an opportunity that feels right, go for it. I think that's one way I always, made good decisions. Listen to my gut feeling. When you feel something, when you're excited about something, don't do it because you're afraid. If you feel it could be interesting, go for it because you never know where this path is going to lead you. And I that's how I definitely came my way, and I'm really happy with my path. Even not everything I did was always great, but I felt like I learned from everything, and I could definitely experience things which probably I never would have done if I would maybe been too afraid to do it.
Gee, that's a great answer. And Jake Birtwistle was very similar. He was talking about opportunity, when he was young. Delhi Carr, the photographer, sports photographer, much the same. I think that's been a really great one and a really great takeaway to share with everybody that, look, opportunities all around. You got to keep your eyes open and then grab it when it's there.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. If you could sit down and have a coffee with any living person, who would it be and why? Is there anybody that you're like, that'd be awesome?
Yeah, I'd love to have coffee with you too.
There we go. Best answer.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I would love that. One day we should really do that.
Well, we'll start with a coffee and we'll move over to a glass of wine.
Yeah.
No mistake.
Now, I wanted to, if you'll bear with us, I want to do, this is a bit of fun. I've started adding to some of the episodes, which is I enjoy. And it's 15 fun sort of rapid fire questions. If you don't have an answer, you can say pass, but it's just a little bit of fun. So here's a softball one to start with. What is your favorite family vacation?
Family vacation.
Where would you like to go?
I don't know. I haven't really had lots of vacations.
Hey, Vegas.
Yeah, no, not with the family. No, I mean, somewhere, Sedona would be perfect for family vacation.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. Okay, who would you dream of having a head-to-head duel to the finish with at Kona Ironman?
Jan Frodeno. I'm joking.
No,
if I get an hour head start, maybe.
No way. That is the answer we're keeping, and I love it. Okay. There's a bit of a self-reflection one. What would you change about yourself if you could? You can say pass or nothing.
Yeah.
Can I also
I'm totally awesome.
Second?
I'm totally awesome.
I got nothing on that one.
I don't know.
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would want to change myself because that's just who I am. Even though I'm far away from perfect, but I don't know.
No, but you're in a good place, and I can tell that the whole way through this show. You
I like me.
Yeah,
period.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah,
it's good.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Enjoy the path you go. I mean, I did enjoy it, but I was always very, very driven. So there were times where I didn't really enjoy it so much because I really was like very eager to get better. So I think in the end, I mean, that's probably why I got better, but in general, also to, enjoy the way, like enjoy your journey. I think that's definitely important.
That's a good one. Really good. Out of 10, how cool would you say you are?
Oh, I don't know. Not cool enough.
Well, you wear those square hats and everything.
Yeah, well, that doesn't make you cool.
You've always been
you can't. Cool is like character, isn't it? That's not what you wear.
No, it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
It's like what you wear.
I would say halfway cool, maybe 5.
A 5?
Yeah.
No, you've just downplayed it. Everybody, Daniela Ryf is at least a 9.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. And all you need to make it as a 10 is ride a Harley Davidson. That's what the other car. Okay, outside of triathlon, if you could choose to do anything for a day, what would it be?
And you'd be really good at it.
Oh, you'd be the best in the world at it.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like a sport?
Well, no,
or
anything.
like
or business. What about business?
Business. You could,
running your own company.
Yeah.
Or country.
No.
Coming into a board meeting as the CEO.
No, it just I don't know.
All right, we can just say pass to that one.
Let me give me 2 seconds. I don't know. I'm happy with what I do. No, I don't know. Yeah, maybe a businesswoman. Yeah, but I can still do that later. I'm not that old yet.
No,
you're not that old.
We've talked about that already. Absolutely are.
Okay, here's a really important one, and you're probably going to have to think about this one for a while. Which would you rather do? Wash dishes, mow the lawn, clean the bathroom, or vacuum the house?
What's the grass, like the
mow the lawn?
The lawn.
Yeah.
With like a little robot, though. Like you can sit on and drive.
That was what I was going to say. Is it ride-on or is it a little push one?
Well, you can choose.
No, it's funny, but I always like that smell of mown grass. It reminds me of my childhood. I don't know, it's just, my dad used to do it when, I don't know, it's just, we played in the garden and he would mow the lawns or something.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's like summer feeling.
Beautiful image. Yeah. Okay, so a movie's going to come out about your life. Who do you want to play you?
Oh, I don't think anyone, because I would just be annoyed if they don't get it right.
Just play myself.
I would not. I don't think I would want to have a movie about myself, to be honest.
Well, so, all right. Is there a product that you'd refuse to promote?
Yeah, there's many. I mean, cigarettes or unnecessary things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. If you had a time machine, would you travel to the future or back to the past?
I don't like time machines. I think it's I think we should live in the now. That's like one of the biggest kind of.
God, you sound like Laura. My goodness.
I don't want to go back there.
No, I'm happy what happened, but I really would not want to go back anywhere. And I also would not want to know what happens in 5 years. It's just, that would be so sad to know.
I've got very rational women with me, everybody. I'm doing my best here. Okay, here's one. Now, hopefully this one will have an answer. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Talk to animals. That would be very cool.
Good.
That's the hit.
I haven't seen that.
Because you can always, get one of those little apps on your phone for the other languages for people.
Yeah. Some people,
Okay, really the most important question of the show. Which decade of music is the best?
I think I'm like a 2000 girl, like the zeros, or how do you call it?
Yeah, the naughties.
The naughties.
But how do you say that?
The naughties.
The naughties. Yeah.
Like not, I guess
not for zero. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's when I was.
Okay.
Yeah, sure was it.
All right, and last couple: invisibility or super strength. If you had a superpower, which one would you want?
What's that? The other one? Invisibility.
Invisibility. Nobody can see.
Yeah, that would be cool. I like that.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I like to be underestimated or like, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't be seen.
Okay, most recent show you've watched on Netflix?
The Queen. The whole thing.
Isn't it great?
Good. Yeah, it's good.
Loved it. Poor Philip just passed away.
That's true.
But that was a great show. If you won $100 million tax-free in the lottery, how would you spend it? That's our final question.
I would first build everyone I like a house.
Oh.
And then, I don't know. I don't think you can even spend that much money. Give it to people who can use it.
Daniela, do you like us?
Oh, yeah. Come on. You won demoing a few times. I remember that one. I was like, I was on that start line and I still remember, oh, Laura, I won $200,000. That's insane. I remember that. I would have been
and then you've gone off the $1 million.
So how did the million feel?
Yeah, how'd the million feel then?
You know what? Go 5 times.
Yeah.
I also had a Kona Ironman. And
that was a lot of pressure, actually. It's as weird as it sounds, but to have, if you know, if you race, it's weird to go to race where, like it's so much on the line for money. I didn't like the feeling so much. It felt, you race different. You race like protective. I was definitely very, very nervous because I felt it was like my one lifetime chance.
But I also, it's nervous, but I always felt like those big money ones. I had the similar in sort of, what was it, 2007 when I had to win the 5th race for the Grand Slam or whatever in the big bonus. But I look back now, and you might later in your life, it's probably when I was probably most alive, when it mattered so much. Because it's hard to find that kind of feeling sometimes when you're not an athlete.
Yeah, to optimize your opportunity.
Yeah.
Essentially what you're trying to do.
How do you mean? Like when you win it then? Or how do you mean when you...
The pressure of going into it where you have to win. Where you have to win. It's like it's ugly, but it's also awesome. It's like it's conflicting.
Yeah, but I like it better when it's about the World Championship, where it's like it's about when you're going to be facing the best in the world, and it's like that day you're the best in the world. I like that a lot more than if... And
everybody has the same pressure, right? Everybody's got the same pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Where I was the only one who could win it. So it felt different. But what I thought was interesting is when I came back from 2015, because that's the year I won Kona for the first time. And then I was in Thailand for like 4 weeks. And then I went straight to Bahrain. And I came back, so first time to Switzerland. And everyone wanted to know how it feels to be a millionaire. And no one asked me how it feels to be a world champion. And this, I thought it was very sad. Like, I didn't like that. So for me, I would still say the win in Kona 215 was emotionally was the biggest thing. When you can, after 214, not being able to win so close and then come back and win it. And that felt really like amazing. Where to win the Triple Crown was a lot of pressure, and I felt very privileged to have that opportunity. But it was also more of a relief, I was just like, okay, it's done. Yeah.
I don't talk about it anymore. I just want it done.
Yeah. Daniela, this has been so fun, hasn't it? Been great just to catch up and like we've said during the show, I can't wait for us all to get together and have a coffee, a beer, or wine, or whatever it is. But I'm really, personally, I'm just really impressed at your maturity, your growth, what you've learned, and your journey and your process. We've always admired you, and definitely from afar, watching these last 5, 10, 8 years and your performances. But just to be able to spend this time to speak with you and just to hear, I don't know, just to really hear a glimpse behind the eyes of a champion like we have has been really special today. So thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It was really, really nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, you too. Now, where people can follow you, Instagram, I'll put all that in the show notes. What's the name of your Instagram?
Just Daniela Ryf.
Oh, yeah, you've got one of those great names. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This was an incredible episode. I truly appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody for their feedback and all the sharing of the show. It's really wonderful. And you can find all the show notes, timestamps, and the links and coupon codes at bennettendurance.com/media. Thanks again, Danielle.
Thanks a lot for listening. If you've enjoyed the show, your support would truly be appreciated. You can visit the Patreon page, or you can subscribe with your podcast app of choice. Don't miss the next episode, so subscribe and be notified. For show notes, if you want to know more, please visit bennettendurance.com. I'm Phil Liggett, and on behalf of Greg Bennett, here's to the next time, and I hope you will join Greg again very soon.